Welcome to Not So New News, where we discover what is hidden in newspapers from 100 years ago. Today's article comes from the town of Whitesburg and appeared in Letcher County's oldest newspaper, the Mountain Eagle. Volume 2, Number 20, dated January 14th, 1909. Today's edition of the Mountain Eagle is titled, Pay Up for the Eagle Now. Mr. Merchant, let the Eagle advertise your business. Rates reasonable. Mr. Merchant, let us do your job printing. We guarantee satisfaction. This is a reading that is from the writings done in 1909. These views are from that time period and do not necessarily reflect the modern views of Kentucky, Tennessee living, nor its narrator. However, we do feel that all historical documents should be preserved for the future and strive not to change one word of the reading. However, if we feel that the readings are too controversial in political or religious standing, we will either silently put up the article for viewing or will direct everyone where it can be found online. Thank you for your understanding. All advertisements are read from the Mountain Eagle in the year it was printed. Kentucky Tennessee Living does not endorse any product that is listed in the pages. However, for historical purposes, they are read and kept intact. Gossip from the zoo. The horned horse's wife has a new baby. The tailor bird denies that he made the short pants the Eskimo dog's breath comes in. The law bird indignantly resents the insinuation that she is related to the harpy eagle. The mongoose's husband has served notice that he is not to be addressed as a mongander, or he will fight. The osprey in the aviary got hungry for fish the other day and bit a chunk out of the basswood perch. The fact is being committed upon that, although the prairie dog is a born gopher, he never goes near the lynx. The new orangutan is such a funny simian that there is much speculation as to whether his name isn't Ford. The folks at the snake house are talking of getting the jocular ape to give the rusty old Texas moccasin a monkey shine. The jocular ape believes that the reason the giant anteater is so thin is that there are no giant ants here for him to eat. The polar bear weeps when he thinks of the Arctic whales and seals. He says they always did make him blubber, though. The American eagle says it is a sad reflection for him when he thinks how bald he is and remembers all the hair he has had. The pert Paraguay says that the great horned owl is on the blink. But then, the Paraguay grew up in a land that is always bowery. The sandhill crane stuck his long beak through the wicket in the deer yard yesterday, and the elk said, quote, "Hello, Bill," unquote. Ed, Mott, and Judge. Diseptic philosophy. Spot cash isn't so scarce as spotless cash. Money talks, but it never gives itself away. The luck that seems to come easiest is hard luck. Any man who can make money can make friends. Love is blind, and self love is positively incurable. A man descends from his ancestors and still may rise above them. The male flirt never asks a girl to marry him until he's sure she won't. If every man has his price, lots of them should be on the bargain counter. When an old maid makes a goose of herself, it merely proves that she is no chicken. A man's enemies will unconsciously do more to boost him into prominence than his friends. If we could see ourselves as others sees us, the spectacle would be a severe blow to our vanity. Many a man doesn't do anything worthwhile because he thinks it isn't worthwhile. If a man could only endure his own troubles as easily as he thinks he can endure other people's, this would be a happier world. By our own owl. The best thing about hope is that it costs nothing. Opportunities frequently come in opportune times. The average girl would rather marry well than happily. A promise is something that is almost as easily made as broken. Constant use will wear a thing out, even the constant using of friends. Every young man should learn to say no, especially in leap year. The man who can talk to himself while shaving doesn't miss the barber. Some people count their chickens even before the eggs have been laid. The man who is satisfied with something just as good is apt to be a failure. The unexpected happens so frequently that the wonder is we don't learn to expect it. In an argument, a man may be stubborn as a mule, only a mule argues with his feet. On the sea of matrimony, the man who marries a widow can only expect to be her second mate. The square piano is old fashioned, and it looks as though the square man was getting to be also. Drake's pun. Having made much as a modern oil baron, Drake decided to go out of the buccaneering business. Quote, "Well, boys," unquote, he announced as he hauled down the Jolly Roger. Quote, "As I am a Drake, I guess it's time for me to duck," unquote. Later on, Queen Elizabeth heard of the pun and offered to make Drake's editor-in-chief of a London. The 1909 editor did not finish this article. To the public, I find that by close application, two men can properly take care of the work of the Union Bank, of which I am president. And as we now have three men on the working force, I have secured the consent of the directors to organize a school here and do teaching in the afternoons each day. Before noons, my attention will be given to the bank. Therefore, I ask all persons who want to see me concerning notes or other business to call at the bank before noon, and in no event to call upon me during school hours after noon. Further, I will say that A.C. Adams, who is assistant cashier, will be associated with me in teaching. He will have charge of the teacher's course before noon and do his bank work in the afternoon. In this way, there will be two men at the bank at all times and one of us in the schoolroom. Further, we will associate some of the competent teachers with us. The winter term will open January 4th, 1909, and continue 10 weeks. The spring term will open March 15th, 1909, and continue until May examination. Tuition payable in advance. High school course per term, $7.50. Teacher's course per term, $6. Intermediate course per term, $4. Primary course per term, $2.50. Tuition tickets will be for sale at the bank. Trusting the school in its infancy will be favored with liberal patronage, and it may be of service to the public. I am, respectfully, James P. Lewis, Principal. New drugstore. Fitzpatrick and Venners are now ready in the new bank building with a new, up-to-date line of drugs. Everything brand new. Prescriptions carefully compounded. Fitzpatrick and Venners, proprietors. Safe and Sound, Editor. Union Bank, Whitesburg, Kentucky. James P. Lewis, President. W. H. Potter, Vice President. B. E. Cottle, Cashier. A. C. Adams, Assistant Cashier. Presents for the holidays. Come to our store and get something that is good as the best. Everything in the general merchandise line. Blair and Fields, Whitesburg, Kentucky. This concludes today's reading of the January 14th, 1909 Mountain Eagle. We at Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for your continued support as we bring to you the history of the Appalachian Mountains.